Hello, and welcome to a review of Medieval Dynasty. And there are a lot of different things that I could talk about with this game, but I want to start us off by just saying, this is my village. I have about 50 hours on this village, and I could just give you a tour. And there will be a little bit of that in this video, but I want to start off by explaining the gameplay loop. So you start off with essentially nothing. And you go around and you gather things like these stones that you can see here. There, you just use your action button and pick them up. You get stones, you get sticks. You use these things then with this crafting menu using the Q button, and you can craft tools, and you can build buildings and roads and decorations and so on. So you start off building a small, simple house along the lines of this, and eventually you can build a bigger house like the one that we walked out of down there that has more complex, materials like the stone, and the roof is made of planks. And in the process of leveling everything up, you can do agriculture. You can have animals. You can see I have some hefty piggies here. And this fencing, I got to build myself, right? You're not like stuck with just a ploppable. This little pig pen is ploppable, but the rest you could build. I built a chicken pen here. So this is the hen house. You can see in there's places for the chickens to hang out. And then I built this little area for them. I've got quite a few roosters, so it might be time to sell a few of those off. Uh, from the wattle house, you can upgrade to a daubed wattle house. And I actually don't even have the highest upgrade, which would be to take that stone house that I just showed you and weatherproof or improve the warmth of it. But you then have these, as part of the gameplay loop, there are seasons, and there are also ways of upgrading even your production buildings. So this is a kitchen, this is a seamstress, this is a hunting lodge, this is a woodcutter, and like this person is working on hewing this log down into planks, I would imagine. There are many, many different things that you can do in the game, and the gameplay loop is all about leveling up your settlement. So let me show you a little bit of in the management here. This is a little bit intimidating, I'll be honest. When I first started watching people play this game, I'd see them pop into this menu. They'd be scrolling really fast and clicking across all these menus, and I could not follow it. So let me just give you the 2-minute version before we talk about the other seasons and the other elements about this game that I think are so fantastic. First, you've got your inventory. This is your personal inventory. Now, I carry too many tools. I shouldn't, but I've got tools for a wide range of jobs, and really you should probably just get the tool for the job you're about to do. But you've got tools, and you can sort through your clothing and the food that you're carrying and materials and your money. Or you can just see it all right here. You can see the condition of your items, you can see what your character is wearing, you can see your health, your food, your water, all of these things. You can also level up your skills. So some of mine are leveled up, some of them are not. It depends really how you spend your time. You do a lot of extracting, you level that up faster. You do a lot of hunting, you level that up faster. You do a lot of farming, you level that up faster, so on. So we got hunting here, extraction, farming, diplomacy, which is you're relating to other characters, the NPCs in the game, by buying and selling or just talking, negotiating with them. We've got survival, which includes fishing. You can see in the icon, but it also there are other survival skills mixed in, and we also have crafting. And there's tons and tons of crafting. And there's a journal here to help you keep track of quests. You've got a map that shows you, you can see where my settlement is here, You can see there's a few random things because I built a building over there and a building up there. But for the most part, my settlement is right in this area, and then these are permanent settlements on the map. So you can go visit those to sell, to recruit people, all sorts of things. And then the management tab, well, let me do that last. The technology just shows you how each of these separate skills, building, survival, farming, and production, all level up. So as you level them up, you have schemes that you're able to purchase to get cool new things. So you don't automatically have the ability to make a cap, for example. You need to level up to Sewing Hut 2, and then even once you get that, you have to pay 150 silver to open it, and then you need 2 linen fabric and 1 linen thread to make it. So these are all things, everything is essentially a recipe, a crafting recipe. So the technology trees help you build up to that. So you can't, at the start of the game, build a windmill. At the start of the game, you can't build the Fishing Hut 2. You have to start with Fishing Hut 1 and level up, so on and so forth. This is maybe one drawback, one thing that I've been critical of about the game is that it has made me play 50 hours before I could get some buildings. For example, the fold to get sheep, you have to level that up. You can't get a horse right away. So things like that, the technology tree makes you work for it. You also, there's this knowledge menu that allows you to look up things if you're not sure what to do. But let me just quickly talk about the management, and then we can move on. In the management, you can sort your people, you can sort them by age, by their mood, by their profession, all this stuff. This Robert guy was the first one I invited, and he has always been a hunter, which is why his level, he's really leveled that up well. Um, you can also look at your houses individually. You can name your homes. You can sort, like, these are all my extraction things. So, like, I have an excavation shed that is in 0 condition. That needs to be essentially built. This one is not built, it's just set up. But some of the other buildings, like this woodshed one, that's probably the very first one I ever built, and maybe it should be torn down and rebuilt. So that's part of my job as the manager of this village. Then you've got all the fields that you can set what crop you want to grow. So field 6, for example, is the carrot field, and so on. You can set these, you can plant whatever you want, you can make the field size whatever you want. It is completely up to you. As you can tell, mine's very random. I did not do anything scientific with it. And maybe if I play this again, I would do that a little differently. You can check in on your animals. I've got chickens, pigs, goats, and 1 horse. And then you can look at your people's demand. I tend to use this screen. It gives me an idea, how much I owe in taxes. It gives me an idea how my dynasty reputation is doing, how many more buildings I can get, what my population's at. I don't really pay too much attention to this food because I have my agriculture set, but this is a really important number in the early game when you're getting started. The water tends to be fine. And the wood, you have to make sure that, I'm really low right now, but usually if I'm not building a ton and using up the logs, this number's not too bad. But as you play the game and, you get used to the mechanics of it, the gameplay loop is really goes from picking up sticks and stones off the ground, making simple tools, to eventually building this entire village where you have NPCs who are doing work for you, interacting with you, and you kind of work cooperatively by assigning them to get to prioritize jobs. As you can see, my farmer here is planting, should be cabbage, but that looks like he planted carrots. Oh, I did that. Well, that's my fault. So he's planting the rest of the field in cabbage. All right. Thanks for checking out this section. I will move on to the next. Medieval Dynasty is a visually stunning game. Here I'll take you around this beautiful town here that I have built, but it's not my building that makes the game so visually stunning. You can tell that there's a little bit of kind of fog here because this is in late summer coming up on autumn, but it has the sense of weather to it. This is a building under construction. That one's kind of partially built, but there's a barn there with a thatch roof and the remnants of some fields. But you can see in every detail, you can see the horse in the stable and the food there. Look down this lane that I have. You can see the way the light cuts through the trees. This is a beautiful game with a lot of detail. Look at the character model here for Wiltruda. Uh, she reacts to me, but you can just tell that every detail. Look at my shadow. Is things are dynamic. The textures look great. You can look at every grain of wood here. You can look at these wattle walls. Actually, I'll show you one of the functions here with the repair. We only have one stick. We need a few more sticks to do that. But I'll show you what that function looks like. We'll grab some sticks. You can see the detail even in these tiny sticks on the ground. And we'll go fix this wall so you can watch the way it functions. Boom. And even though this is bright green, you think that doesn't seem very realistic, but it's all in the interest of gameplay being balanced with this visual, uh, clarity. It's visually stunning. And now we've got a rainstorm coming in, which explains why it was a little bit hazy this morning. But even in the rain, the weather effects are quite satisfying. Let's say hello to one of the children here. Hello,
Hello.
Nibor. Hello.
Farewell.
Farewell. Uh, we've got a barn and some food storage. We've got an orchard growing here, a cabbage patch, a range of buildings from houses to storage. And with every one of these, you can tell that the model is well designed. There's historically appropriate elements across the game. I wanted to show this off. There are plenty of other things I could highlight, from the waterfall to I guess that'd be my west over there. We've got the natural things that are a part of the game, not even counting what you're able to build as the player. This is a fantastically visually stimulating game, visually stunning game, and I want that to be conveyed in this review. One of the things that I absolutely love about Medieval Dynasty is that it's a sandbox. You can do a wide range of activities, and I can come along and be the guy that picks up the beetroots and carries them over there. I can be the guy that comes along with the hammer and repairs the building. There are a number of ways to play this game that are all based on your own personality as a player. If I want to, say, go hunting, I can grab my bow and arrow and head out towards where there are some animals. But on the way, if I decide I'd like to forage, here we have mushrooms that I can forage. There are natural things to see. To my point from before about it being visually stunning, check out this season. But, aha, we hear a crow. Oh, and I missed. But you get the idea. I can be a hunter. And I can be a gatherer. I can pick up the sticks. I can be a lumberjack and chop down trees, which I'm not going to do right this minute because I don't want to get that weight while I'm on my way to hunt a deer. I happen to know, because I've been playing this save for a little while. I happen to know there's a spot where deer spawn up here. But I wanted to kind of explain this concept of the sandbox while I'm on this hunt. See, if I want to, every season I could hunt. But if you're looking for a bit more variety, you can hunt in one season and... Oh, there it is. Did she see me? Got her. Okay. You can hunt in one season. You can go do other stuff in other seasons. So we'll go ahead and get this deer. And you can see, if you pay attention on the left side, I get 3 leather and 15 meat for that kill. I could keep doing that to make leather that we can use for crafting clothing and bags for farming. You can build anywhere. If I just suddenly decided, you know what, I want to build a production facility, let's build a smithy right here. I don't have the stuff to do it, but look, it shows up green because I can do that. With this game, you have free reign, unlike a lot of other building simulation style games where you have to purchase land and that kind of thing. You do have a tax that you have to pay every year that's based on the size of your settlement. So when you first start out and just have one little house, you only have to pay the tax on that. But as you expand, you have to pay more tax. But you can hunt, you can fish, you can craft. So you saw that I picked up a few mushrooms. I can use mushrooms to make soup, mushroom soup. There's a kitchen down here that you can bake recipes in the oven. I haven't unlocked these, but you can make those, but you can also craft tons of different recipes. So if you want to, you know, I woke up and it's the fall season, of course, and I might say, well, let's take a look and see what kind of things we can make. I mean, obviously, if I was really, and I'll do this next, but if I was really wanting to, I would just go down to the grain there and I would harvest, because that's the first priority. I don't want that to go bad. But I, can take a look at what we have here. We've got carrots and cherries and dried meat and eggs and all the stuff, but I might decide that I want to make some soup. So we'll take some meat with us, and we'll take some carrots with us, and I can't remember if there's another ingredient, so we'll take this over here and take a quick look at what all we need for the stew. Okay, we just need some wooden bowls. We'll grab some wooden bowls out of here, and instead of making a whole bunch of these, I'll just make one. But as you can see, we're going to take the ingredients of the carrots, the meat, and the bowl. Over there on the left, you can see a bowl, 2 meat, 2 carrots, and now we made some stew. Now, we're not really hungry for that yet, but we can put this stuff back in here. We got our meat, our 15 meat from the deer we just killed, we can throw in there too. And here's our stew. And when we get hungry enough later in the day, we can eat that. But we could also deliver the stew there and share it with our people. Now I'm going to show you some of the farming. This is me using the scythe on the oat field, and we are getting this grain, which we will then thresh, and we can do farming. But I've done all of this in about 5 minutes, but you can decide what you want to do. If you decide, you know what, I don't want to do this scything, I don't like farming, well then let your worker do it. So I have a worker assigned. I mean, he's not scything right now, he's turning over the wheat field so that it can be planted for the springtime. So it's not, maybe the wheat, actually you do plant wheat in autumn. So It's good that he's doing that. That field will be planted in wheat, and the one beside it will be planted in rye. As a matter of fact, I believe that's what this gentleman is doing right here. If we look, he is planting this field in rye. So they are turning those fields over, and I will go ahead and finish up this little job with the oats. But I haven't even, this is all stuff in my own little village, although that just broke. Well, I'll show you the smithing then. But I don't want this section of the video to go too long, but I just wanted to show you that if you wanted to just be a blacksmith, you could essentially roleplay being a blacksmith. And if you wanted to roleplay some other element, you could do that as well. So we need 4 bronze bars. Do we have those? No. See, we only have 1 bronze bar. So what I would need to do is combine, not that, combine 4 copper bars and 4 tin bars. Excuse me, sir. I need this. I mean, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. So we need to make this into bronze bars. And I didn't even show you mining. If you wanted to make mining your main goal, you could do that. Right now what we're trying to do, I think we're going to need a log to be able to make the scythe. If I remember right, we need a log for that. So we would go grab a log out of our storage, or we would chop down a tree. But you see how this works. It is just a constant what's the word for it? It is a I don't want to say struggle. It is a constant process. Why did you move over here? I'm trying to work. And so we want to go to bronze tools to the scythe, and we'll make that, and we can go ahead down and finish up getting the grain. But you can see how a person could play this game and spend time doing all of these different jobs. As you can see, one of the defining features of this game, Medieval Dynasty, is that the seasons matter. The seasons matter in literally everything that you do. You can see here we're now in the winter time and our fields are not producing. We do have a wheat field and a rye field that are growing, which we will then harvest in the spring. But there's a noticeable difference in the tasks that you complete in each season that all surround the crop cycle. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time in this video discussing the crop cycle, but as you can see, one of the great things in the winter is that it's easy to spot the sticks and stones on the ground that we can go around and pick up. But you may have heard in the middle of my talking that my character is cold, so I can use a torch to warm up, or I can stand by a warming fire like this, or one of the ones in the house. But we also have different types of clothing that you can use to stay warm in the winter. I have a fur hood that is currently not equipped, so I will put that on, and that should help keep me a little warmer as well. As we go around the village, there are different tasks that people are completing. Like this is the herbalist hut, so the herbalist is I'm sorry, that's a house. This is the herbalist hut, and the herbalist is probably going to be gathering things. But in the wintertime, there are not berries and mushrooms for the herbalist to gather, so their job is a little bit different this time of year. As we walk around and check out different people's jobs, you'll notice that some of them can do their job, like this smithy will still be able to produce tools and metals, but some of the others may not be able to do the same kind of work. I believe this is some damage from a storm that we just had as an event. So I wanted to point out how the the game is not repetitive because the cycle for the crops really matters. It won't actually let me plant anything in the wintertime except for carrots. And if you notice, this is my carrot field here. So I can go into my barn and take out some carrot seeds. We'll get about 30, I believe, is what it takes. And then I take my bag here and I choose carrot seeds, and it will let me plant those. But if I was to go to one of the other seed types, it would not let me plant it. So I'm going to go ahead and plant this, or else I'll let the worker who's assigned this area do it. And we'll get another batch of carrots in. If you're wondering how we make it through the winter time without getting fresh food, if you come in here to our food storage area, you can see we have apples and berries and mushrooms. Here's some carrots from last year's harvest. So because we're this low planting, maybe carrots are something that we could make more of. We have plenty of cherries and dried meat and eggs from the chickens and fish and fresh meat and lots of onions. In fact, a lot of these are gonna go bad, which is sad. I need to make a more conscious effort next year to use those. But you can see we've got pears and plums and mushrooms and a wide variety of things. And we also have this kitchen over here that is producing food that will help people have higher calorie foods to utilize. So it really is an in-depth game with a lot of different things that you can do, but there's no one specific way that you have to play through the seasons. You can go about this in whatever way makes sense to you. If you want to focus on hunting, you can go hunting as we did earlier in the video, or you can use the winter time to construct new buildings. It's really up to how you want to play the game, but the seasons absolutely do matter. Thanks so much.